back to 5 Minutes of Finney. Tonight, I'm going to be finding out what happens when you take fermented apples and dry hop them. Now you're wondering what I mean, but I think it was about a year ago that a collaboration happened between Stonewell Cider and Blacks of Kinsale Brewery, and they dry hopped a cider together, and that cider was about 16%, and it was damn tasty. And since then, Stonewell has continued that, and they have dry hopped a cider again. I think it's fairly similar to the original, not completely sure. This has been a while, but they're now bottling it, which is quite exciting, and that is known as Tawny from Stonewell. And Stonewell was started in 2010 by Daniel and Geraldine Emerson from County Cork, Nahovo Cove in Kinsale, and apparently there's an old Stonewell there that's still running as well and still in working order, and they are residents of that. So they started making cider back then using an old French press that was given to Daniel from Geraldine's father, I think. And since then they've been using local apple producers and making some really great ciders. And I tried the original one back, as I said, a year ago. And I tried this one, Tawny, in February, I think, at the craft beer festival there. That was the most recent one. Anywho, this cider is made from fermented juice of Devonette and Michelin apples, and it is then dry hopped with Eldorado hops. So it comes in at 15%, so it is quite strong, and it is a 500 milliliter bottle, so it's quite large as well. So, you might consider sharing it with some people. Open it with a few friends. I'm hoping there's a cork on here so I can cork it back up afterwards and drink it a little bit of it later. Great labeling, and they've added some wax to the top as well to make it a little bit more fancy. So this is my first actual cider review on the vlog. Normally I do beer or whiskey, as you all know. I thought it'd be fun to kind of review something different, especially since it was dry hopped. That's something different that nobody else is doing right now, is dry hopping a cider. So, I'm opening it right now. It's quite loud. So let's see. Yeah, it's got a screwed cork top there, which is quite nice. And there it is. There it is. I need to get more glasses. Anyhow, it's a nice golden color, as a cider should be. Not cloudy at all, it's clear. It smells very crisp, appley, nice sweet tart apple nose on that. And then it's got a really nice, rich, appley sweetness to it. And you can taste a tiny bit of hops, but it's not like you would not even know if somebody handed this to you and didn't tell you it was hopped, you just would probably think it was, regular cider with a bit of a kick. The hops are not overpowering in any way. They add to the cider, they don't detract from it, in my opinion. The major issue with this cider is it's way too drinkable. At 15%, I could down this entire bottle without an issue, but you might be feeling it the next day, probably from drinking 500 milliliters of 15% cider. But Jesus, it smells amazingly appley. It's got a gorgeous, nice, crisp apple flavor to it. Yeah, so no, I was really excited that they were bottling it, because I liked the idea of a dry hopped cider from the moment I first tasted it. I thought it was, innovative, different, and, it was still cider, but it added a different element to the cider, just a different complexity to the cider. I really like when people think outside the box and are, try to move their products a bit further, move the beverages a bit further, and really just try to experiment a bit and not be afraid to, color outside the lines sometimes. Because I think that you can find really different and interesting beverages that way, and you don't have to do it all the time, but if you do try doing it, you can find some really amazing things happen out of it, like the cider. So anyhow, that is Tawny. It's from Stonewell Cider, out of Cork, and it is quite tasty, 15%. That's it for me, my first cider review, and let me know what you think. If you want more of them, have a good night. Cheers, so.